Yellow, what is poppin' YouTube fam? This is your boy J Money here. I have a second place deck profile for you guys this time. This is a second place from a double box tournament I just got back from. And this deck is Marincess. I have not played this deck in 8 months. I wanted to profile it 8 months ago, but too much time had passed since then. This is back when Protos was still in the game. This is a week before the Shark deck profile I did. I was on that water craze, as I was saying. The new support is live, and the deck performed insanely well. It did way better than I thought it would. Jesus Christ. This deck is like straight gas now. Okay. Well, enough of hyping it up. Again, the deck did way better than I thought it would. Again, I got second at a double box tournament just now. You know what? Let's just go on to the profile. See what the hell I was doing or what the hell the deck does. Alrighty, gents, on to the deck profile. It is a 44 card list, so not exactly 40, but I think every card in here definitely saw its uses and whatnot. But let's go ahead and start off with the best normal summon being the Blue Tangs. Blue Tang, for those of you guys who don't really know, Marincess is the whole deck is water cybers. That really gets stuff to the grave and generates a lot of recursion. So this card on normal or special will foolish a Marincess from your deck, a Marincess monster that is, and when it's sent to the grave as the material of a water monster, you can excavate the top 3 and get an excavated Marincess card out of those 3, and then the rest go back to the deck. Next, we played 3 Seahorses. That is the monster you typically want to foolish. There are other cards you want to foolish, but it depends on what else is in your hand. But bare bones, you want to foolish Seahorse. It's just an extender that lets you special summon it from hand to a link zone a Marincess points to. You can only do that once though. So there's this, and now we got one of the new cards out of the legendary duelist, Marincess Spring Girl. It is an extender that is a name, and that is very good. You can banish a Marincess to special summon this card from your hand, and if it's in the if it got sent to the grave for link material of water, you get during that time, depending on how many Marincess monsters you have on the field, you get to excavate that many cards. And for each Marincess you hit, you get to deal 200 burn damage per card that you, or per Marincess card that you hit. I definitely have cheesed in time twice, thanks to that particular effect. Now, we are playing 2 Pascalists. There are a lot of people that don't like Pascalist and really don't like the normal summon, because if the normal summon gets hit with like Veiler or Imperm, and let's say you have the Blue Tang in your hand, then you kind of almost pass. But when it comes to this new stuff, this new support makes it to where Pascalist is actually kind of mitigated, right? You can mitigate those kind of things and still get those other monsters to the field out of your hand. Like when if you still open Spring Girl or whatnot, when you have like Coral Triangle that can send let's say the Blue Tank from your hand and then coral it back and then still get your send and then make a Blue Slug later in the combo. Yeah, you don't always have to make Blue Slug at the start. If you have structure your hand well enough, you can just straight up just start with a Sea Angel and make a, like, let's say a Splash Mage into a Triangle, into a Coral, and, you know, get your stuff off that way. Now, sometimes you may not want to make Splash Mage right away, you know, because you don't want to forfeit your ability to summon Bahamut Shark and make Toad. But the Pascalist is really good. I definitely have sent it with things like Blue Tang. I've banished it for Spring Girl and then resummoned it with Bubble Reef, and then summoned a level 4 from hand and still made Shark Toad. You know, that way. Her effect that allows you to essentially get back your new Marincess spell from your grave the next turn, or get back your trap if you don't want to try and go into a triangle again and all that. Like, just the effect to recover your Marincess spells or traps is very, very important for those grind games, especially if you're playing against Despia. For sure, for sure. Next, we have the One Sleepy Maiden. It's very good for format skipper. It's a nice extender. And we still play our Mandarin because it is another card we can foolish if we already opened the Seahorse. Now, that is it for the Marincess monsters. On to some tech cards. Now, a lot of people were playing Silent Angler for the longest time, but now I am playing Silent Sea Nettles. These cards allow you to have a better grind game. It accomplishes the same thing as Angler, except it does not restrict you from summoning from hand for the rest of the turn. And it lets you put your slugs back into the extra deck. It lets you put your Seahorse back in the extra deck. It lets you put your corals back in the extra deck. It makes it to where you're not just dry on your stuff, to where you're not always using Marble Rock, Coral, and Slug on each other just to make sure you can keep going. You know what I mean? So, I do regret not playing 3. Honestly, I haven't seen it enough, and there have been grind games where I get like stupid close to really not being able to go into other Link 4s because I don't have any more slugs in the extra deck, I have no more corals in the extra deck, and I'm just kind of stuck to where, yeah, it's like, no, going forward I may want to find space for a Reborn and a third Sea Nettle for sure. And 2 4-mud skippers. Yeah, you just make Sea Angel, search your spell, and then grab your level 5 guy. Marincess, summon her, make Coral, you know, and just do your stuff. We did actually play hand traps. We are on 3 Ash, 1 Droll, 1 Nib, 1 Veiler, 1 Ogre, 1 Bell, and a Crow. Now, this deck is very, very gassy, by the way. This deck has a lot of ways to just keep pushing. And so, I have been able to open like 2-3 hand traps and still be able to push through a lot, right? The deck can really do its share of pushing. Now, I chose one of all the other ones just so I can be sure to cover my bases on the kind of matchups I wanted, as well as cross-out targets. I did choose 3 Ash because if I played against Flunderies, I wanted to be sure to have an Ash for an Impin summon. I don't know why people still want to hit Eaglin. I think Impin is like the 100% the card you want to hit because not only does Ashing Impin stop statue from hitting the ground, but it also stops the map or the trap card from getting into their hand if they don't have it. So it's a double, it's a 2-for-1 essentially. When it guards that matchup, and you want to stop things like Branded Fusion. Like, those are just the 2 big ones, right? Impin and Branded Fusion. That's the only reason why I played 3 Ash. Typically I play 2, but you know, it's just too important to see one, honestly. Spells, 3 Sonnet Minings, we already know. I've searched Pascalis a couple of times, but normally you search Blue Tang with it. 3 Die. This is the very new Marincess spell. This card is insane. It says if you have the field spell on the board, you can summon a Marincess from your deck, and its effects are not negated, and you can activate those effects. You know how many times I've summoned Pascalis just straight from the deck and use the effect to summon a water from level 4 from hand to make Shark Toad? A lot. Now, there have been times where I didn't even open Blue Tang, and I would just summon Blue Tang and get a Foolish. And this all happens if you just start with Sea Angel. You just Sea Angel. If you already have the field spell, you add Dive. If you already have Dive, you add the field spell. Activate the field spell, activate Dive. Summon freaking Blue Tang, send freaking, what's it called? Send Seahorse, make Coral. You know, Blue Tang gets the Excavates. Coral bring back one of your other monsters, and then make Slug and get the Seahorse back to your hand. And then you have even more extenders there. Make Splash Mage. The deck is like straight gas, man. 2 oceans. So many times there will be a lot of times where you really wish you had the second one, because everybody tries to out this card, man. I'm telling you, everybody outs this goddamn card, and it's good. I mean, it's also, by the way, if you get ashed, right? Like, let's say your Sea Angel gets ashed. If you activate this, it just lets you reborn a non-link Marincess from your graveyard. So yeah, it's either reborn or a Rhoda, or an E-Telly. But with Battle Ocean, yeah, if you link any Marincess link that's linked using Crystal Heart and EMZ is just unaffected by stuff. And when you link some of Marincess stuff, you get to just equip Marincess from your graveyard. Up to 3 Marincess links from your grave. They gain 6 for each. Equip. Plus all Marincess gain 2, so that's 1800. Typically, you're ending on Aqua Argonaut, which is a 4100 body that can negate spell, trap cards, or effects. That's also unaffected by stuff. That's also a magnet for attacks. Pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. We also had 3 Droplet. This is honestly just beat the Flunder matchup a lot more. It should probably be more hand traps, if I'm being honest. But the Droplet performed 3 1 for, or the 1-for-1 for 4-Mud Skipper or the Marincess Mandarin. And for traps, we have 3 Wave. This card is absolutely insane. It is an Imperm that can also be activated straight from the hand if you have a Link 3 or higher Marincess. That it also makes your whole board just immune to stuff for the whole turn. So if you have the Toad or whatnot on the board, it makes it to where your opponent really can't just bait Toad out. So, you know, it makes it to where Toad kind of just sits there until there's like a card like Mystic Mine that will come down, which I have been hit by that 3 or 4 times during the double box tourney, and not once did I actually lose the mine. Hit. 3 goes a match. This card is insane against, well, every deck. Every deck. Flunderies, Sword Soul. Despia of Lubellion comes down. It's nice. Let's see, just like all the punk decks, like they all just lose to Goes in Match, period, point blank. Goes in Match just wins. All right. Now, extra deck. We have 2 Slugs. Last time I played Marincess, I was on 3. Have I missed the 3rd? Hell yes, I've missed the 3rd. I have definitely been missing the 3rd a few times. I really wish I had space for 3. It's annoying that I don't. I had to make space for a second Angel because of Marincess Dive now. Dive is just too important. Like, you kind of have to play 2. Also, getting to your second field spell if they out the first one. Crystal Heart, that's obligatory. You have to play it. It makes it to where the field spell is just nuts. 2 Coral. Have I missed the 3rd? Hell yeah, I've missed the 3rd. These 2 cards right here, I wish I was playing 3. And I wish I had space for 3, but I'll get into what I haven't played later. But we have a Splash Mage, which is nice. It's still really good. Staple, 100,000%. Marble Rock. I've went into this a lot. I went into this more than I did Coral Triangle, and it's just these grind games, man. Like these 3 cards right here, Slug, Coral, and Marbled, lets you grind. And if you don't know how to manage these 3 cards, those 3 resources, you will lose your ability to grind very, very quickly. I've definitely learned a valuable lesson. Now, we got a new card, right? The Marincess Coral Triangle. This card's pretty nice. This card lets you send a water from your hand to the grid to add a Marincess Trap from your deck to your hand. And if only your opponent controls a monster, you can banish this card from your grave, which I'm pretty sure that effect definitely came up when I was losing Steam and grind games. And it's like special water links from your graveyard whose combined level equals exactly 3. See, I could have used that, man. I definitely could have used that. Now I know that that's there. That's so important, man, because that right there lets you summon back Coral. You could just summon back Coral and be able to recover some more. Oh my god. I might want to bump that up. I mean, I do want to play 2, but I don't have space for it. Now, let's see. Wonderheart, however, I did not go into at all. I don't think I needed to. Like, the very, very last game, I really wanted to go into it, but I couldn't because I had 3 extra deck left, right? I had a Wonderheart, an Argonaut, and a Crystal Heart. And I'm just like, damn, man. Like, if I had a Link 1, this would be way, way easier because I had a loaded grave and everything. But I had this. I forgot. Well, I mean, yeah, I just... Oh, man, I'm so dumb. You know what I mean? But just... Like, the deck just needs more Link 1s, let's be honest. Like, it needs more Blue Slugs. If I could play 5 Blue Slugs and 4 Corals, I would. 100,000%. Bubble Reef. Sometimes I wish I played 2 of these, honestly, because the first one kind of leaves the field pretty fast. And then you really want to go into a second one to summon some of your banished Marincess Links back. But like, you can't really summon this back from your graveyard unless you're like play things like Reborn and stuff, right? Like, but I don't play any Reborn-based cards. The only Reborn-based card I play is Dive, and that's for non-Marincess Links. Here we go. Aqua Argonaut. This card solves a lot of the deck's problems. Now, I didn't deck profile this deck 8 months ago, but I still remember very clearly one of the key weaknesses of the deck was spells and traps. And I'm not talking about spells and traps, I'm talking about evenly matched. Evenly matched is a big problem, because this deck had no way to negate spells or traps, right? Yeah, you would think it'd be alright that you have a Towers monster, but you had nothing to stop the field spell from getting outed by spells and traps. Like you had no idea how dumb it is to have your setup, right, with your wave, and then you just get Lightning Storm for spells. You get evenly matched, you get your field spell hit with Cosmic. Like, your field spell just gets threatened every time by back row removal, and there was nothing you could do about it. But with this right here makes it to where it's possible without having to try so hard to funnel into a Shark Toad. And I must say, man, I am grateful for this card. This card is nice. You know, and it summons Marincess that are equipped to her. So I will equip a Coral if I could. Not too often do I have a Marble Rock equipped, but if I did, I would summon that too. I would summon all the things that get my Marincess stuff back from grave to hand and start loading up my extra deck again. Shark and Toad. These two allowed me to have the extra negate needed. So, let's see. This deck overall performed exactly as I wanted to, right? It was all gas. Not all gas, because I had hand traps, but what were some of the problems, right? The main issue I faced was, like, losing the moment. Like, the deck was extremely good at accumulating its resources back, but the moment you started running out of slugs or corals, and you already used your Marble Rock, you were in trouble. So, what I really miss, I really wish I had 3 of both Coral and Slug, and I wish I had a 3rd Sea Nettle, because the Sea Nettle, I didn't know that you could use both of its effects during the same turn, right? I thought it was, except the turn it was sent there, but either or, I did not see this card enough. You know, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target up to 3 water monsters in your grave and shuffle them into the deck. I would just shuffle my extra decks back in. 100%. I would be shuffling Slug, Marble Rock, Coral every single time, because these 3 cards are the key to your grind game. And Pascalis for getting back your trap or your dive. So, yeah, that is the extra deck. Side deck is very clean cut. Let's see. As for side, there was like, I think we went into half our side. Honestly, I think the other half we didn't even go into. So we're gonna see what those are, right? Crossouts. I alluded to it earlier. If you're playing one of a lot of hand traps, you are likely playing crossout in main or side. Here, point blank. Cosmics, 2 out. Things like There Can Only Be One and Mystic Mine and other dumb floodgates like Skill Drains. And the Flundery stuff, obviously. 3 evenly matched for back row, like heavy back row like Striker, Eldritch, things like that. Or monster boards too. Like, it will just bait negates. 2 barrier, auto win. This card, White Howling, would auto wins against things like Mine and heavy spell decks. It beats Despia, it beats Striker very well. Any deck that plays a lot of spells or needs their spells for fusions or rituals or whatnot, this card just beats them all. Yeah, the card is a better magic deflector if you're playing a water deck. And 2 Forbidden Chalice. I did not side Evenlies and I did not side Chalice at all. The Chalices were definitely meant for Flunder matchups, for sure, because you can't afford to lose your Statue or Monarch. So, yeah, it was a very clean-cut side deck. And, yeah, I didn't play the kind of back row decks that I thought I was going to. So, there's that. That's it for me, guys. Alright, that is Marincess, guys, gents. Deck is nice, deck is gassy, you can play a lot of hand traps. That's really it. I mean, the deck is very good at what it does. It just has very good recursion, very consistent now, especially with all the new cards. Can't really say anything more about the deck other than I wish I had more extra deck space for more corals and more slugs for even more grind. So, you know, other than that, it is what it is. But, guys, let me know what you guys think about this Marincess deck profile. Blue Maiden. Not Blue Angel this time, but Blue Maiden. It's whatever. Anyway, guys, Rogue will never go meta. Meta will always end up going Rogue. This is how it works. Alright. That is enough for me. Thank you very much for watching. This is your money, and I am signing out.